describing the proposal as a project of one person.
They're like, this was not a group project. Do not put my name on this.
Yes, I was not part of this.
I did not do this homework.
Not at all.
Hi, I'm Caitlin.
Hi, I'm Alex.
And this is Raising the Game, a women's sports podcast covering primetime performers, the business behind the athletes and the leagues, and what the growth of women's sports means for the next generation of women's athletes.
Welcome back, everyone. Episode 31. We have got a lot to talk about. International soccer, a lot of international soccer news.
A ton of international. Yeah. It was like a whole story arc.
Yeah, there was a whole... It felt like 48 hours, basically.
Yes.
It was a little longer than that, but I think we'll dig into it a little bit later. And we got to talk about the WNBA and where things are headed here after the All-Star break.
Yes, and if you can't tell, I have spent too much time with the WNBA this weekend.
Yes, absolutely.
I lost my voice screaming for the Lynx in their game against the Fever on Sunday. We took our girls to.
We did, yeah.
So we will be talking about that and more.
Yeah, we will.
As we head into really the home stretch of the season there.
Yes.
Home stretch kind of for NWSL as well. So we're going to start to tee up some playoff pictures a little bit. I think we'll get into that in our next episode a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's, before we get into favorite thing, just a reminder to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever platform you're on, and whatever button they have, click that button.
Click the button
and follow us. It just helps to, get us in front of more people, and we get to meet more friends on Instagram and Threads.
Yes. Share us with your friends, share us with your family, share us with your worst enemy. If you feel like that's the appropriate way to use our content. We are down with all of it.
Yeah.
We are down with all of it. All right, you want to get into favorite thing?
Yeah,
I don't think that we have to pretend like ours is different.
It's the same thing as what you said already, is bringing the girls to the game. They got to meet Prowl, which was fun.
Prowl is the Lynx mascot right here if you're viewing listeners. Viewing listeners. It was a really good game. There were a lot of Fever fans at the Target Center this weekend. Yeah, it was a fantastic game. It definitely had more playoff vibes to me, which makes sense. It was the top team in the West. The Fever were the top team in the East going into that game. Yes, we are the closest franchise to Iowa.
Yep. A lot of Iowa plates in downtown this weekend.
A lot of Iowa plates in downtown. I helped a few folks navigate their way through the streets of Minneapolis, which was full of Fever fans, but I will say once we kind of got in and got going, man, I love Minnesota sports fans, man.
Yeah.
We showed up, we did what we needed to do.
Loud.
We were loud, showed up in all the right ways in my view. And, it was a really good time. Yeah. We're going to talk a lot more about the game itself in a little bit.
Yeah, we will.
The girls hung in, like that was the most engaged.
Yeah,
I've seen
I think so.
From
anything we've been to.
And it was just like cute walking around with them in their little Olivia Miles jerseys. Way too big on them.
Yeah, massive.
We posted a couple pictures on our socials, so if you want to go check out how drapey those things are on our girls, you can. But they had a good time, and we had a great time. I think Alex was sitting on the end of our seat, group, just like biting his nails, super nervous because it was like a close. It was
really close.
And
game.
Also, as Minnesota sports fans, like a 15-point lead in a basketball game is not.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing.
Right? You're like, oh, they're gonna throw it away. Like, just watch. They'll hit a couple threes, right? And a team like the Fever can do.
Yeah,
that.
They can.
So, but overall, it was great. Great to get the W. We got a lot of shows, and we'll talk about all those shows once we get to our WNBA.
Absolutely.
Segment,
all right, let's dig into headlines.
Let's do it.
Opening day of the inaugural Women's Professional Baseball League sold out.
Yeah, it seemed really, really fun.
Yeah.
Over the course of the weekend, just kind of the hype that the league put up around from a social media perspective. ESPN also announced shortly before these games that they were going to be partnering with a streaming service. So on ESPN Select, I didn't even know that was a thing.
I looked it up. It's like $12 a month or something like that.
So you can watch all the games there, but you also can watch all of these games on YouTube, which is probably a little easier to access for most of us. In game 1, the LA Queens came from behind to beat the New York Heights 10-8. We also had our first WPBL home run by, I think, Danae Benitez. I believe is her name. She's one of the faces, I think, of the league for the New York Heights. And then in game 2 on Sunday, the San Francisco Firebells trounced the Boston Hunters 11-3. If you want to learn more about these team names in this league, our next episode, we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive on the history of women's professional baseball. Because, yes, it's been around a lot longer than just last weekend. And we're going to talk about the origin of some of these team names. I'm excited for that.
It'll be fun. Women's USA baseball team punched their ticket to the 2027 World Cup Finals, going 5-0 and scoring 102 runs.
5-0 throughout the tournament. And 102 runs.
Wow.
Featuring a lot of the women who you can also see play in the WPBL. So good for them.
2026 is already the most watched season in the WNBA history, reaching 73 million viewers, 10 million more than all of 2025.
And we are
a little over half,
I'd say two-thirds of the way through the season right now. The point being, there was a huge broadcast deal signed. And lo and behold, when you put this stuff out there for people to see, they will watch it.
The Dallas Wings will temporarily move in 2027 to the American Airlines Center in downtown Dallas.
So this is the same arena that the Dallas Mavericks and the Dallas Stars play in. Their capacity increases from 6,300 to 20,000 max. Now, I imagine they're going to do something similar to what the Lynx do, because Target Center is also about 20,000, where some games they don't make the upper bowl available, things like that. But awesome for the Wings that they're showing like sustained attendance, that they feel like this move is worth it. And I know they've played potentially a few games there so far this season, but they are playing their next home game. I think
I saw their next one
this week against the Valkyries. So that should be a good one to watch.
Expecting an announced team name for the new WNBA Cleveland franchise by the time you hear this.
As of course, all of these media things tend to happen on Tuesdays.
We
record on Monday. We release on Wednesday. So oopsies. But this team is going to debut, just a reminder for all of our listeners, they'll debut in the 2028 season. The Cleveland team will. That'll be followed by the team in Detroit in 2029 and the team in Philly in 2030. Next season, we will have a new team, but it's based on the relocation of the Connecticut Sun to Houston. And they'll be called the Houston Comets. So the Connecticut Sun will kind of cease to exist at all. But that's kind of the shuffling that's happening for the 2027 season.
Marina Mabry of the Toronto Tempo pledged $500 for each make during All-Star Weekend's three-point contest to Black Women's Institute for Health in Toronto.
Yeah, this is awesome. She just ended up being a total of $6,500. She had some quotes when she was asked about it, about how like she just feels really strongly about giving back to the community that she's in, but also recognizing that there's huge disparities in health coverage and health treatment that Black women receive. So I love to see that.
PWHL hires 5 new business directors, 4 of which are women, to lead for each expansion team and the New York Sirens.
Yeah, I think this is awesome to see. We kind of complained a lot about the lack of female coaches coming into the league when that was announced. Still think that is a bit of a gap, but awesome to see women in leadership positions to help guide and direct these teams as they really start this year. The New York Sirens was the only one that was part of this group that isn't part of this expansion, these expansion teams.
Vancouver Golden Knights announced that former GM Kara Gardner-Murray, did I say that right, will step into the head coaching position.
Yeah, so this is cool. She's stepping out of that leadership role there after their first season into that head coaching vacancy. Remember, Brian Podolsky, their inaugural season head coach, was fired a couple months ago now. And and they are searching for a new GM. So Gardner Morey has decided not to wear both hats. Like Ryan.
I think we had talked that might be a possibility there.
Yeah, but I think she decided she wanted to stay focused on coaching and leaning into that role as opposed to trying to do both things.
Yeah. Last weekend, the 2026 Girls High School Flag Football Championship game drew 1.12 million viewers.
So the LA Seahawks won a thrilling OT victory over the defending champs, Austin Texans. This is the third annual Flag Football Championship. They hosted in Westfield, Indiana. There were 350 boys and girls teams, 15 international teams. And flag football is very much on the rise. Huge investment coming from the NFL in particular, but with this slated to be an Olympic sport in 2028 for the LA Games, there's sort of like a mandate out there that there have to be a certain amount of opportunity, I think, for people to compete. So you're seeing this at the high school level here. It's offered now as a high school varsity sport in 38 states. And then at the collegiate level, the NCAA announced 40 schools are currently sponsoring teams with an additional 20 to be added by next spring. And Nebraska became the first Power 4 school, or Power 4 conference school to make women's flag football a varsity sport.
Come on, guys. We gotta get some more out there. You can't let Nebraska be the leaders on this.
But they are, I will say Nebraska is a leader in, I think, the women's and advocating for women's sports space. Like their volleyball team, soccer, even I just think that they tend to lean into that. It's not surprising to see them early to the table.
Yeah. Netflix is reportedly paying $200 million for broadcast rights to the 2027 Women's World Cup.
So what's interesting about this, and I couldn't find more information quickly, but they had actually already paid, I think, to broadcast in the US and Canada for the 2027 and 2031. I think this is a like upping the ante to get full rights to it. What I'm wondering about is like, are you broadcasting it for free?
Yeah, is it part of like your normal plan?
Or because that's kind of silly if now you're gonna hide it all behind like, I mean, everything's hidden behind a paywall nowadays, I guess, but cool to see. And I actually think they'll do a really good job.
Yeah, I think they will.
You know, and we've got Elle Duncan went over there, right, to do commentating for basketball primarily, but I feel like they can draw some talent.
Yeah, they can. KC Current unveiled a $1.4 billion plan to expand CPKC Stadium and develop the riverfront area by the stadium.
Say that 5 times fast. Yeah. So they're going to go from an 11,500 seat stadium to 18,000. Remember that this is a stadium built
specifically
purpose built for women's sports and women in general, right? We even talked about like the sight lines are thought about differently in the stadium. So they're also looking, I've seen some cool renderings of like what they're planning to do in the surrounding area. So that stadium sits right on the river there. And so they want to build a pedestrian bridge over the river so that it's easier to access. To get to. And then I've also seen they want to build out infrastructure for like bike lanes and buses and stuff too. So again, like the accessibility piece, we talked about this with Gotham moving into Queens, New York, right? And how will that actually attract more fans? Because it's just more accessible by lower cost means of transportation. Yeah.
The NWSL has terminated its streaming contract with Victory Plus, with the streaming service reportedly behind on payments, prompting other leagues and teams to terminate contracts.
Yeah. So we got, Netflix picking up the World Cup. We got Victory definitely fumbling the bag. Yeah. I'm waiting for the Lynx to announce that they're dropping.
I'm worried about it.
To be honest, the user experience hasn't been great. It's kind of weird. When you get in there, it can be a little glitchy is what I would say. Yeah. And I saw this and I was like, oh,
makes sense.
Maybe explains a lot. So unfortunate, but really just the call for like more investment, more like sustainable access to view these teams.
The NWSL also announces the 2027 season will begin in February to accommodate the 2027 Women's World Cup.
So this is a month earlier than normal season would start. Yeah. I think their plan obviously is to take a break probably during that group stage play. They did not do this last World Cup to my knowledge because there weren't as many international players playing in the NWSL. And so they've probably hit that critical mass to a degree. What I have seen interesting kind of from the soccer heads around this is like, are they starting to creep towards that schedule shift we talked about a while back? And as of right now, I'm like, no, I think they're just trying to make sure that they can actually take a break.
Yep.
As opposed to in the past where they've just played through it and you're kind of like, it's a different game when you pull out the like senior side international stars, really, right? So
Athletes Unlimited announces pause on pro basketball, volleyball for 2027 season.
So their quote for both kind of encapsulated, like, we're assessing the changing landscape and we want to like make sure we have the long-term future of this in mind, right? Like, what should it look like? Reading between the lines, I'm like, I think the competition is too high in the space. I do think they need to reassess. I hope they don't go away. But on the basketball side, you've got Unrivaled, Project B, you've got Upshot League now. Like, there's a lot there. And then on the volleyball side, you've got LOVB, which is expanding. You've got Major League Volleyball. I think we're getting a team for both leagues here in Minneapolis this coming season. So I have a feeling this is going to start to become kind of normal in these spaces where there's some good competition kind of looking to vie for the best product.
Yeah. Venus and Serena to join forces in Cincinnati next week for the doubles competition.
We knew they were coming back.
Yeah, we knew it.
We knew they were coming back.
Alex Yala becomes the first Filipina to win a WTA Tour title, defeating American Jessica Pegula in the DC Open over the weekend.
Yeah, this was cool. I was reading a little bit about it, but I learned that she's 21 years old. And at 21, she's now accumulated 9 wins against top 10 ranked players. 7 of those 9 have come this year.
Wow. Okay.
So she is definitely like she's on someone to watch, right? Like, and she's been someone to watch for a while, but it seems like the momentum, the flywheel is starting to catch.
Yeah.
So we'll be keeping our eyes on Alex Yala as we go deeper into the WTA season here.
All right, should we kick it off with some soccer?
Let's see if I can get through it. So talking a little bit about WAFCON started last week, right? This is the Women's African Football Cup of Nations. Basically their qualifier for the World Cup. Top 4 teams will go. The next 2 teams up will go play in that Confederation or whatever.
That championship, whatever that's called.
Yeah, the playoff. So there has been some great highlights from a play perspective so far, and I'm going to go through a few of those. Some of our NWSL stars, names you will know if you listen to this podcast, certainly shining. But I also want to talk about a glaring issue with this tournament in particular, and that is coverage.
The coverage,
and the ability to get to information about it, ability to watch it. I've read that the commentating is awful, like almost unbearable. You put it on mute if you're gonna watch.
I tried to get into the what to watch, and it took me about 10 minutes to figure out where in the US you can actually watch it. And it seems you have to get, potentially, if you have BN Sports, you can watch it. You might have to get Sling TV. They have like a special soccer only thing you can get, and that's like might be the only way.
So we're going to talk about that. But kicked off last week, we talked a lot about some of the NWSL players who were playing in the tournament. The big names that you will recognize are Temwa Shwenga, who's from Malawi. She is playing, or Malawi, I should say, is playing in the tournament for the first time.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think they're first time.
Right. And then Barbara Banda of Zambia. Yeah. Right. And then we talked a lot about the Nigerian team, because they literally win this thing every single time. I think they've won it 10 times or something like that. They're the defending champions. I have to assume if you've won it 10 times, you've probably won all of them.
Yeah.
At this point. So they're in Morocco playing these games. So Malawi is in a group with Nigeria and Zambia. I did not realize that when we were talking about it last week. So like one group is Malawi, Zambia, Nigeria, and Egypt. This is group C. It's like super stacked.
Yeah.
Right. And Malawi, of course, draws Nigeria in their first game ever in WAFCON.
Yep.
Like, they've never been there before.
Yeah.
Nigeria's won it 10 times.
Yeah.
They're like, well,
Here we go.
Guess what Malawi does?
They beat them.
They win. They win behind the Schwinga sisters. So if you didn't know, we talk about Temwa a lot because she plays in the NWSL. We don't talk about her sister Tabitha.
Okay.
But they came out and they were like, we're both going to score.
Yeah.
So they ended up winning. Temwa scored 2. Tabitha scored 1. They ended up winning over Nigeria, taking down the 2-time champs. And then they moved on to play Egypt, won that game, sets them up for this clash with Barbara Banda's Zambia.
Yep.
So Zambia, in their opener, have to play Egypt, right? Because Malawi and Nigeria over here. They come out and they just stomp them 6-0.
Ooh.
Barbara Banda scores 4 goals.
Wow.
So she scores same clip.
Yeah, same thing she's doing in the NWSL, right?
She'd be way ahead in the Golden Boot race if those were happening in NWSL play. But then they turn around and they lose to Nigeria 1-0, 1-0. And Nigeria had gone down to 10 women.
Yeah.
They lost a player on red. And Zambia couldn't figure out how to find the back of the net. So that moves us to like this, I just said Malawi has to play Zambia. Yeah. Right?
Yep.
Malawi's top of the table. You've got Zambia and Nigeria just like battling to be that next team up, right? Because you want to make the quarterfinals. If you don't make the quarterfinals, you're not going to the World Cup no matter what, right? So those games are going to be played on Wednesday in that group. So release day for us. Yeah. So you might know kind of what happens.
Yeah, I think it's both at 3 p.m. I think it's Central Time here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then all of the group play for WAFCON wraps up end of this week. I think they have a break day on Friday, the 7th. And then they launch into quarterfinals.
Okay.
Yeah. So pretty exciting stuff. Like, again, we've got our, NWSL stars showing up the way that we expect. But the problem is that the world can't see it.
Yeah.
So if you remember, we talked about this back in March. This tournament was supposed to be played in March.
Yep.
And then it got canceled like 12 days before it was supposed to start or rescheduled. No explanation. I could never find an explanation as to why that was. But unfortunate, right? And now these women are over there. They're playing in front of no one. Yeah. Like if you see the clips and stuff, it's like there's no one there.
Yeah, no one's in the stands.
Likely because it got moved. Yeah. And because like, again, hard to know what's going on with it, right? You can't get live scores on Google. This was also really annoying me about the Women's Professional Baseball League, as Alex saw before this. Like normally if you go on Google and you search like WAFCON scores, right? It'll pop up like scores. And so what it will do for what Google will do for WAFCON right now is it'll show you the games that are playing, but it will literally say cannot get live score.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's a different game, even an overseas, like a Premier League game, right? Or a WSL game, you can see the live scoring updates. Yep. So there's definitely a gap. And we can acknowledge, like, I understand why the gap is there.
Yeah.
Right? I think like there's less development in Africa, things like that from a technological perspective, let alone kind of just like their football prowess. But like these women are showing us that they have the football prowess. We just can't see it. And this brings us to my point is we don't know, or investors don't know to go invest there because they can't see the product. Yeah. Right. And it's unfortunate for that federation as a whole. But it's really unfortunate for these players because this is how they get better contracts.
Yep.
This is how they get bigger teams to want to sign them. Not talking about the NWSL players now, like the other ladies who play on these teams, and they don't get an opportunity on.
They have zero visibility to any scouts that might be in
the only
NWSL,
way you get that
WSL.
is if your team makes it to the World Cup.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's limiting. Whereas if you look at some of the other UEFA, for example, you could play on a pretty like small country there, but like you get seen.
Yeah.
And so it's just something that I think, broadly speaking, we need to talk about, we need to raise attention to, and we need to ask for that to change.
Yeah. And just like we talked about in headlines, if you show it, like people will watch, and people are online begging to watch. They can't get to it.
And then too, like once you do get the coverage, you have to be intentional about that as a product as well.
Yeah.
We saw that. We like tried to watch the Women's National Football Conference games, and like their broadcast is so awful. Great. And we said, like, if you want people to watch, it has to be quality commentating. This weekend, the WPBL, people were complaining about the commentary because it was kind of like, I don't know, not as exciting, not as excited as excitable as people wanted. People notice that. It's important. And I think that you need to be thoughtful. You can't be an afterthought of like, oh, well, fine, we'll cover it. But then like, it's
who are you going to get to do it? Yeah.
The whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Let's dig into some of the FIFA news that happened last week.
Oh my gosh.
I need my notes because this is a whole timeline. It was a whole thing. Last Tuesday, FIFA president Gianni Infantino had announced plans to create a $20 billion subsidy to run the World Cup and other events, and would offer stakes up to 20% to external investors. They were going to call it the FIFA Forward Enterprises.
Okay.
And immediately everyone's like, no, we're not. No, this is not happening.
Absolutely not.
UEFA called like an emergency meeting.
Yep.
55 member nations voted unanimously to boycott all FIFA tournaments.
Yes.
Until the proposal was withdrawn, saying that the World Cup, quote, cannot be treated as an investment product.
Yes.
Then CONCACAF, 41 member federation for North America, Central America, and the Caribbean, rejected the proposal during a meeting on Thursday.
Yes.
Friday, the Asian Football Confederation, which has 47 members, issued a statement saying it stands in solidarity with UEFA and CONCACAF.
Yeah.
So if you're doing the math, that's 143 out of 211 member nations of FIFA. And then additionally, this is where it gets kind of nasty. Infantino's senior advisor, Carlos Cordero, resigned with immediate effect, calling the plan a bad deal for football. And FIFA Chief Operating Officer Kevin Lamore said the staff had been deceived.
Oh, gosh.
By Infantino, describing the proposal as a project of one person.
They're like, this was not a group project. Do not put my name on this.
Yes, I was not part of this.
I did not do this homework.
Not at all. So I think the interesting, as I was researching some more of this, it was actually funny. We were sitting at dinner telling your parents about this last Friday.
Yeah.
And literally on my watch, we got the alert that they weren't doing it anymore.
They were not moving forward.
But I think the interesting thing was that one of the immediate things is that before the World Cup, it was basically a lock that Infantino was going to be reelected as the president of FIFA for the most part.
Seems kind of crazy given the press around.
Yes. And now it's kind of like, I think UEFA's actually even said, you are out or we will do a vote of no confidence.
Yeah.
And you have potentially the Asian Federation, CONCACAF, everyone that would probably vote against him.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, if these reports of some of his deputies and whatever are true, like you broke trust even with your inner circle, like you do deserve a vote of no confidence. Yeah. I think it's wild too, because UEFA was quick to be like, absolutely no.
Yeah.
I was reading a little bit and I learned that moving that quickly into that decision was actually driven by a pair of women.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Yep.
So UEFA vice president, let me make sure I get her name right here, Laura McAllister. She was the one who initially was like, and we need to like figure out how we're responding to this right away. And the answer is no, always.
Yeah.
And then the Norwegian Football Federation leader, Lise Klaveness.
I'll take it.
She was also quick, I think, to move forward with and kind of like rally the troops a little bit. But so yay, women. But I think like even if just UEFA had done it, you're talking about Spain.
Yeah.
Right. Defending world champions, both men's and women's. You're talking about England. You're talking about Germany. You're talking about Norway, right? Erling Haaland is like one of the faces, right, of professional football right now. Italy, Portugal, like that alone should have sent a very strong signal that CONCACAF got on it. And CONCACAF getting on it is interesting because, right, we've seen Infantino kind of get cozy with President Trump.
Yep.
And so for U.S. soccer, amongst its compatriots and, like you said, in the rest of North America, Central America, and the Caribbean, say no, that almost sends a really strong signal to him specifically that like, hey, that your buddy old pal who you thought maybe could help you navigate this
is not there for you.
Honestly, who maybe gave you the idea for it because I'm just saying it smells like Trump. Make it a business, right?
Yep.
It just,
Well, and I mean, to tack onto that, one of the big investors was Jared Kushner's firm.
Oh, so well, there you go.
Makes a lot of sense.
I didn't even know that. That was not a plant. I had not read that deep into it.
But going back to the women who called this out, I think the interesting part, and it makes sense, is here is what would have been affected by an UEFA.
And this is why we're talking about this, frankly.
The U20 Women's World Cup in Poland starts September 5th.
Yep.
So we have a boycott.
Yep.
That's not happening. European qualifying playoffs for the 2027 Women's World Cup are in October.
Yep.
And the U17 Women's Tournament in Morocco in November.
Yeah. And then not to mention the next major tournament, right? Is the Women's World Cup next year in 2027. So
and you want everyone available.
Yes, exactly. So, because you would not be making the money you think you're going to make if those countries and nations are not participating. Yeah. So good on the federations for putting their foot down. And basically the sentiment, right, is like football, soccer is for the people.
Yeah.
This is not meant to be a for-profit enterprise. Yeah. It was always designed to be a nonprofit governing body. And if you're going to go in this direction, you are violating the values and the principles of what this was intended to be.
Yeah.
Now, you can have a debate about things cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
We want to keep expanding. We do want to keep being able to generate revenue so that we can provide these opportunities, but it's not supposed to then become a money-making venture for some buddies on the side.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Or people who have money, right? This starts to just create that it's the same K-shaped diversion that we're seeing broadly. So I'm glad they jumped in.
I think the other interesting thing there is that from everything that I've read, Infantino's actually been very good at doing that, is bringing in the revenue. Mm-hmm. But similar to like the WNBA, I was just gonna say, you might kind of be looking for somebody else to be a different leader at this time.
Potentially, yeah. We've heard this story before. All right. Very interesting. I am very glad that we are in 1 week able to say it happened and it's done.
And it's done.
Because I think I would have been stressed out if this had like gone on too long and been like, wow, my World Cup is like
in jeopardy. Yeah.
No, thank you. Okay. Let's talk about a little bit of NWSL to close out our soccer football segment today. Man, what were we talking about right before we started recording? It was like the top 6 teams
basically
seem to kind of be in like they're okay, unless barring like some massive dropout. But then you go to 7 through, what was it? 7
10.
through 10.
You have North Carolina, LA, Seattle, and Orlando all within 1 point of each other.
And they all just keep like leapfrogging each other back and forth. I think the biggest faller or dropper this last week was Orlando, dropped from 7 to 10.
Yep.
North Carolina and LA kind of frog leaped over them. Leapfrogged over them. Frog leaped. Making stuff up now. And then you've got the 2 expansion teams just like lingering on the outside of that cluster. We are going to go see the Denver Summit this coming Saturday, take on the Utah Royals. It should be interesting in good old Centennial Park there in Denver. The altitude isn't an advantage when they're playing Utah.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Oh well. I think a couple things like that I noted right off the bat outside of kind of the team movement just over the weekend. I did ask, I was like, what is happening to Portland? They score a lot of goals, but they have given up a lot of goals in their last couple of games. They lost 5-1 to Utah after Soph Wilson scored in like the first minute of the game. And then they just like couldn't. Yeah.
I thought it was funny. I think you were upstairs. Our eldest daughter, she goes, man, they're cruising.
They're cruising.
Like she just is kind of watching it. She's like, what's going on here?
Other highlights from the weekend. So Jess Fishlock returns to the pitch. She gets on the pitch for the OL Reign. I think she scored like 30 seconds
It was
later.
ridiculous.
And it was the game-winning goal over Bay FC. They were tied 2-2. 2 of those prior goals for the Reign were courtesy of sometimes call-up Maddie Darlene, call-up to the U.S. women's national team. So she had a 2-goal contribution game. And Reign, like I said, got the win over Bay. Bay they're done.
Yeah.
It's over. They need to regroup and figure out what next season's going to be for them. Gotham won, which again, I think puts them firmly atop the standings. Sam Kerr scored a goal.
Oh yeah.
I just think like goal. That's so they are destined to stay right near the top. I think, especially with her adding her. I did learn that Emily Sonnet, we had reported that she had been stretchered off last week, or shared that I should say. And it was reported that she ended up having surgery on her patellar tendon in her knee. Not expected back.
I was gonna say that's a fully
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So tough. And then lots of goals this week. So we had a 5-0 win by North Carolina over Orlando, which Orlando, you can't do that. So
they don't have Barbara Banda.
I know, and we already know their defense sucks. So that was like a perfect example of that. Also, North Carolina has been scoring well. Ashley Sanchez is in 3rd in the Golden Boot race. So good for them. We talked about the 3-2 victory by the Reign, OL Reign. I always want to call them Seattle Reign.
Yeah.
It's just, that's not what they are. Over Bay, and then 5-1 Utah over Portland. Yeah. So goals galore. There was a battle of the bottom of the standings this weekend. Racing Louisville took on Chicago. Chicago couldn't pull out the victory. No. They couldn't. I think they scored a goal, but they lost 2-1. And I saw the second half, it got real rainy in that game, which is unfortunate because that condition changes definitely impact the play, but it impacts both teams. So, and then our expansion sides played each other, drew 1-1.
Yep.
I saw in that game a highlight that Casey Murphy, the goalkeeper for Boston, had the rare goalkeeper assist.
Ooh, okay.
On a punt out to a striker. Right. So that was cool to see for Boston. So we'll talk, I think, in our upcoming episode that we're going to record early. We'll kind of do a little bit of a like, who do we think might end up in there? We'll take a little look ahead at the schedule and things like that. But like we said, I think those top 6 are there's a 5-point spread.
Yeah.
Still close, right? But it's starting to kind of form.
Yeah, we're starting to see what this playoff picture is.
Those last 2 spots is going to be a battle.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. I think you're not watching the top 6 really. You're going to be watching 7 and 8. See where that goes.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, let's take a look at WNBA. I think we're going to talk a little bit of strength of schedule and some other things here. I think I was just looking at the standings before we got on here. Minnesota 10-win streak. I think their biggest one is 13. So they're knocking on the door of breaking their own record here. Like we said early in the season, they were a little bit lower. Golden State, they are right there, 8-2 in their last 10.
Yeah,
number 3 in the league.
Oh yeah,
like we said, legit. Do not sleep on them. Atlanta kind of pulled out of that tailspin they had a little bit before the All-Star.
Only to just get smothered by the Aces tonight.
Today. And then I think, I don't know if we said in the headlines, but Phoenix picking up KP. They are in 11th place right now, 6 games behind New York, maybe 7 now after tonight. They're also playing.
They're playing right now.
They have a chance. They could get up there.
Yes. So we had so the trade deadline was on Sunday, which Alex just referenced. We'll talk a little bit about that. We kind of got some highlights from last week's play, and I had some notes on strength of schedule because I think that's really important, right? We've got about 15 or so games left in the regular season. It give or take a few for each team, just depending on how their schedule fell. But yeah, let's talk about the trades really quick. So trade deadline was this past Sunday. Honestly, that was basically it.
That was it.
Anissa Morrow got traded from the Connecticut Sun to the Toronto Tempo. That was really the only other notable. It was honestly really the only other trade. There was a few other random pickups and contract signatures and things like that. But KP from the Sparks to the Mercury. I actually think this is pretty game changing for the Mercury.
Yeah.
And the Sparks were starting to kind of define what's our identity without her because of her injury.
Yep.
And she was frankly carrying them, I think, and covering a lot of maybe bad habits.
Yep.
I don't think the Sparks are going to make the playoffs, but I still think this is a good move all around potentially for right now situation. I did not go deep dive into the draft pick situation. I've seen some people online being what the Sparks gave up what for or Phoenix gave up what or something. So but yeah, they're playing right now. I do think the Mercury could make a push. They have great veteran leadership in Alyssa Thomas, Duana Bonner, Copper. And so with another scoring threat, facilitator, distributor, they could be dangerous.
As we record, they are winning by 4. About a quarter and a half to go.
All right. Over the sky.
Yep.
Which actually helps me transition into my highlights because you guys, Sydney Taylor is a bucket.
That was awesome.
She hit a game-winning 3-pointer in their game over the Aces.
Yes.
Right? And so this was huge. I mean, if we just look at the table even right now, well, Chicago's jumped up to 10th. I think they were in 12th when that game was played. Las Vegas was in 2nd or 3rd, right? So huge upset.
Yeah.
And she hit this big shot after missing their first kind of game-winning shot situation right before. So to come back and hit that, that is clutch. Yeah. We've talked about her. She's an undrafted rookie. She is playing out of her head. She used to be coming off the bench for them. I think she's now regularly, I don't know if she's fully consistently in the starting rotation, but regularly starting. And I was looking at her points per game splits by month. They're going up by 5 points a month. Right? August is a little skewed because I think she scored 28 or 29 in that one game, right? But it's just incredible to see somebody like that. And again, I think she really is filling the void that Rickea Jackson left when she tore her ACL. We also saw Alicia Gray call game over the Wings last week, which was fun, and also like, what were the Wings doing at the end of that game? I feel like they've had a couple games like that where it's kind of like, why aren't you calling a timeout? Why do you not have your all-stars with the ball in their hand to take that shot? Whether it's AZ, I'm going to call her an all-star because she was in the 3-point shooting contest, right? Paige, Jessica Shepard, you got Enrique who makes game-winning shots all the time, right? Like, I don't know how.
And I think from what I saw, their coach,
Jose Fernandez.
Yeah, Jose Fernandez. He, I think someone asked him about it at the end of the game, and they were like, everyone can play, quarterback from their house. Like,
we will.
And like, we will, because you kind of messed the end of that game up.
I don't know how you don't call a reset. You had a reset timeout, so they wasted time bringing the ball up the floor, right? Of course, Atlanta. Of course, Atlanta's one of the top defensive teams in the league. Like, you don't want that. You don't want that smoke.
You don't want that.
Like, draw something up, man. Enrique was heated. If you were watching that game, she like sprinted off the court. She was John at the refs, John at whoever.
Yeah.
And she can get a little feisty and fiery, but they turned it around. They stomped the Connecticut Sun last night, but man, that's a game where it's like, you just don't want to lose that one. They were up. They were also up. We didn't talk about that. They were up. Like,
they were
by a good amount in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Right. And then just right through your fingers. So we got to do better there. I feel like we hexed the expansion teams.
We might have.
Because I feel like a couple weeks, maybe right before the All-Star break, we were like, they're doing okay, right?
And now they're
not
12 and 13.
Yeah, they've kind of tumbled.
It didn't help that the Lynx beat Toronto twice.
Yeah, Toronto is like 1-9 in their last 10. They've lost 6 in a row. 6 in a row. Portland's lost 5 in a row. They're 3-7.
Yeah, I don't think they got it this year.
But and maybe they can hang around. Something we didn't say really about the standings. I think we have sort of established this like clear top 8 and bottom 7. Like, there's a 5-game spread.
Yeah.
Between those two right now, right? So you really need, if you're going to crack into it, right? And the top 8 right now are Minnesota, Las Vegas, Golden State, Atlanta, Dallas, Indiana, New York, and Washington, right?
Yep.
If you're going to get into there, you like have to go on a bit of a run.
Yeah, you do.
You like just don't have enough games left.
Yep.
So if we're talking about the Mercury, it's like they have to win tonight. They have to beat Chicago. Well, Chicago's like, I have to beat you because I'm like a little bit closer, right? The Sparks play the Lynx on Thursday. Like, they'd have to go out and beat
the best team in the league.
And so I do. It'll be interesting to watch if that spread gets wider the next. By the time we look at this next week, or if it starts to tighten up. Because right now, since last week, this has gotten wider. It was 4 games. Now it's 5.
Yeah. I think if you're the Sparks or Chicago or Phoenix, I think the one saving grace here is that New York is in 8th or potentially in 8th, because they have been this team that's kind of been, for a while, they were kind of like hiding in like 4th-ish place, like not being very flashy. They've kind of slowly kind of dropped down to that 8th spot. And so they could kind of go either way at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. They won tonight. They beat the Storm, but like,
you better beat the Storm.
Yeah, but the Storm actually put up a good fight. They were down 9 with like a minute to go. Flage was like, I'm going to do my thing. Like, if you're a Storm fan, I feel like you've got to be pretty happy right now with like what you're seeing. At least you're not winning. I get it. That's never fun. But like, they're fighting. They're not like rolling over on these teams. So, anyways, like I think we've said this a lot. Like, any team can beat anybody on any night, right? You just got to stay locked in. Got to stay locked in. So let's talk about that strength of schedule a little bit.
Yeah.
The Minnesota Lynx have the toughest strength of schedule according to the statistics, right? Remaining, which I'm sure we're gonna get people being like, that's why their record's so good so far.
Yeah. Yep.
It's not by much that it's the hardest left, but they do have some tough sleds against the Aces. They just played the Fever for the first time on Sunday when we were at that game. They play them 2 more times. I think they have to play the Liberty. Still have to play the Valkyries twice. So it's sort of like that strength of schedule only became the toughest as the season
progressed.
Right?
Yes.
And so they happened to have gone through kind of the lower tier teams at this point. Excuse me. Indiana is the only other team that cracks the top 5 for strength of schedule remaining. They have I would say they have a tough schedule.
Yeah.
Coming up for them. I also I say this every time. I'm like, it seems like they play at home a lot.
Yeah.
And I also wonder if some of that strength of schedule for them
is going to be away.
They're going to be more on the road.
Yeah.
Which is increasingly more difficult for them, I think, with everything going on around that team. And then for easiest strength of schedule, weakest schedule. I don't know how you say that. Golden State actually has the easiest remaining schedule.
They could bump up here.
Right. Followed by Dallas, Atlanta, Vegas, and Washington. So I'm like, what happened? What happened here? That you all didn't, you all already all played each other. And so now you get to play. So my point is, based on these statistics, right? We still have to play the game, but based on these statistics, there could
be some movement in the top,
right? Because something's got to give with these higher ranked teams.
Yeah.
And they're not going to all win all of the games.
Yeah.
So we shall see. Should we talk about this?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Fever game. What do you got?
Olivia Miles was on something.
In a good way.
In a good way. She was on one. But also, so was Kelsey Mitchell.
Yes. That was, I think Liv said that was her welcome to the W moment.
She did.
Was guarding Kelsey Mitchell. And she's just like, she's so quick. And I love the clip. They had Liv mic'd up for the game, which I think miking Liv up might be a mistake because I think she cusses a lot.
They don't use a lot of the
more
footage.
Than I do, actually. But she said something to Kelsey Mitchell during some free throws of like, God, you're so good. And Kelsey Mitchell was like, thanks. Like, I think she said something like, keep changing the world or whatever. Like, it was kind of nice. And Liv even she got interviewed at halftime by Holly Rowe. And Holly, I'm like, Holly girl, she's like, how does it feel to be playing against Caitlin Clark? Like, basically is what she asked. It's not exactly, but it's close enough. And Olivia Miles is just like, well, Kelsey Mitchell's the one that's killing us right now.
Yeah.
I think she literally said, like, it's awesome to play against great guards. Kelsey Mitchell is the one that's causing us problems right now. And I think I love that she's like, no, like this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with right now. Now, Clark had a decent game. Allegedly, she was ill before the game, which I'm sure impacts performance if you're dealing with something. So, but she had, I think, 17, 19 points. 10 assists. She had a double-double. But I gotta be really honest. Like, I did not notice her.
No, not as much as you'd think.
Especially given how many fans of hers there were there. There just weren't a ton of moments that Caitlin is very good at getting the crowd into a game. Yeah. And I get we're in an away arena, but like you guys, there were a lot of Fever fans there. And she just never could really, and that I suspect is probably because she wasn't feeling great, right? But she just she did not make an impression. No. The way that Kelsey Mitchell did. Of course, she scored 37 points. She was getting buckets wherever she wanted to, and not the way Olivia Miles did. Yeah. Right. I even said Courtney Williams for the Lynx had 27 points.
She had 20,
and I barely noticed she did that because she does it in sneaky ways. But that was fun. We love Court. Our girls love Liv, Court, and Fee.
Yeah,
that's like
that's all girls. That's what they know.
Right. The Lynx are, speaking of Fee, 4-0
since she came back.
Since Nafisa came back, which is awesome. You can definitely tell she brings another dimension. We talked about like her gravity.
Yep.
Right.
It's funny that she's doing great. But she does seem like she's trying to get her legs under her still a little bit, but she's still doing amazing for being 4 games in.
She had a few moments in that game where I was like, that's classic Nafisa.
Yeah.
Like the lean in, step back, fade away jump shot from about like 8 feet away or whatever. It's just like so her.
Yeah.
And really fun to see those go down for her. She hit some really timely 3-pointers for us. Which, as a pretty big forward, like it's fun. It's great to see.
It's fun watching that step back that she does because she gets in there, starts bumping. You're like, oh, I know where this is going, so you better be prepared.
Her space, and basically all you can do is hope she misses the shot. Like you can't really defend it. So that was fun. I think I was gonna say the Fever threw some defense at Liv that we haven't seen a ton of. So they doubled her quite frequently, and would try to trap as soon as they got basically over half court. And this caused a little bit of confusion, I think, for the Lynx, but that's something that I think teams will watch for. I think I said this to you when we were driving home. I was like, yeah, was smart and it worked a few times. But I think Liv is just like one of those players, and Cheryl's one of those coaches. I'll get to Cheryl in a minute.
They're going to adjust right away.
They're going to adjust, right? And Liv is going to figure out like, okay, you got 2 on me. That means someone is open. And if you want to find a player that can find anybody on the court, it's Olivia Miles, right? So I think it was interesting to see. I will be curious if we see other teams employ that tactic, and then I'll be curious to see
what happens if they do that.
Yep, exactly. That loss for the Fever snaps a 5-game win streak. It is like their, I think, 5th or 6th game in a row scoring 100 points or more. But this one adds to the record that they set so far this season that you don't want, which is most losses when you score 100 points or more. So they consistently score. I think, again, we said this many months ago, but the Fever continue to struggle. Their main struggles are defensive. Yeah,
definitely at defense.
So still 2 more matchups. We'll be looking forward to those. I think the next one's in Gainbridge, and then they come back to Minnesota. And I actually think both of those games might be after the FIBA World Cup. Oh, that break,
that we have.
So could be completely different teams by that point in time. But overall, it was super fun. And I want to finish up with just like a comment, or maybe it's a shout out to Cheryl Reeve. I continue to just be blown away by her leadership. Obviously there was a lot of like the off court haze hanging over this game, as it is with all Fever games, right? Given some of the comments made by Sophie Cunningham and Cheryl, as she is wont to do, is a staunch advocate for inclusion. Is willing to lean in and try to understand and educate herself more. And I just think like through the whole process, and folks who follow this will understand kind of what I'm talking about, but essentially like Cheryl was asked about these comments last week, like prior to this game. She had a conversation with Sophie that people kind of jumped on before the game. She was marvelous in being like, no, I'm not going to share what that was a private conversation, but it was good to have a conversation. She just continues to show up in the way that I would want leadership to be demonstrated for me, for my girls. And I just really applaud her for that.
Maybe that's our next shirt idea. I want to be like Cheryl.
Yeah. Well, you saw the one shirt that was like Cheryl Reeve is always right.
Yes.
And then I think I saw some post today that was like, number 1, Cheryl Reeve is always right. Number 2, if Cheryl is wrong, go back to number 1.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah. It's pretty impressive what she's done here and what she's built over the years, and how she always does seem to be, I think, kind of like, maybe it's hyperbolic, but like on the right side of history.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And how she shows up and how she leads.
Yeah, so absolutely.
It's cool to do.
All right. Let's move on to what to watch. As we discussed earlier, WAFCON, Zambia versus Malawi, and Nigeria versus Egypt. Those are both Wednesday at 3 p.m. Central. Like I said, if you have BN Sports in your cable package, you'll have it. If not, you can subscribe to an $8 per month soccer package on Sling TV. This is not an ad at all.
If you can create some aluminum foil, get on your roof. Just
the Gen
right.
Zs are not going to understand what you mean by that. WNBA Friday, Golden State Valkyries versus the Dallas Wings, 8:30 p.m. on Ion. Saturday, Las Vegas Aces versus Minnesota Lynx, noon on CBS. And then Sunday, I really wanted to say the Lynx again because they play Dallas. But we also have Mercury versus Mystics, 2 p.m. on League Pass and local broadcast.
Dang. Okay.
So great weekend. NWSL Friday, Gotham versus San Diego. Look at this game, 7 p.m. on Prime.
1 versus 4.
Saturday, Denver Summit versus Utah Royals, 3 p.m. on Ion. It'll be 2 p.m. our time because we will be there.
We will be there.
Yes.
In the mountain time.
Yes. Sunday, Seattle versus Angel City, 8 p.m. on ESPN.
Ooh, that's actually a really important game for both of those teams.
Yes, it is. We just talked about this.
Yeah, they're right in that weird 7 to 10 cluster. Yeah. So,
Women's Elite Rugby Legacy Cup, Denver Onyx versus Bay Breakers for the championship on Saturday at 8 p.m. Central, Women's Sports Network and YouTube.
Okay.
And then we have WPBL. Like we said earlier, ESPN Select. I think it's like $12 a month or something like that.
I also think these are all on
YouTube as well. Yeah. Yes. Friday we have San Francisco versus Los Angeles, 6:30 p.m. Saturday we have Boston versus New York at 1 p.m. and then Los Angeles versus San Francisco again at 6:30 p.m. And then Sunday is New York versus Boston again at 6:30 p.m.
All right.
So full slate.
I'm gonna try to watch some of those.
Yeah. Gonna be hard. We'll be in Colorado.
Oh well. All right.
We could try to go to the Legacy Cup. It's in Denver as well.
Yeah. I read some concerning things about
we'll talk about
today,
that maybe later.
I'm feeling torn on my support of that league versus support of those players. That's a setback.
Yeah, that's definitely a setback. Mine was the Victory Plus nonsense. Yeah. I don't want to lose. It is relatively easy to just click in and the links are on. Yeah. So if we lose them on that, I'll be pretty upset.
Yes, I agree. I think my setback, well, for a hot minute, it was this whole FIFA mess.
Yeah.
I was like, no, do not take this from me. Also, like, that got you thinking, like, will there ever be a World Cup again?
Yeah.
Like, of course there will be. We'll figure out some way to create it. But like that, I don't know. That was
it would have been a hard podcast for the next year.
It was an interesting moment. For me. Let's see. I was gonna say too, like, just in the spirit of kind of cancel it. Oh, I mean, you talked about Victory Plus. I'm just going to talk about like the difficulty in finding access or scores or information. Like, I searched for the WPBL scores before this and had to click like 3 times through to get to an article that actually told me what the scores were.
Yeah.
I get it's a new league. I understand that. But we've talked about that data desert before. And I think it's something with WAFCON, with WPBL, with whatever, like, and then you have organizations like Victory that, you know, they're relying on and then can't, you know, foot the bill or whatever it is. And so we just need continue to push for better infrastructure and better access Because as we've seen, WNBA viewership numbers so far this year, as an example, like people will watch.
Yeah.
So you just have to give them access. So that'll be my setback.
Momentum. I have Sydney Taylor.
Ooh.
Undrafted rookie.
That's good momentum.
5 25-point games.
Dang.
That winner versus Las Vegas. I just think it's a great story.
It's a great story.
For rookie talent.
Yeah.
Like, we have some good rookies.
Yeah.
In the league right now and coming up, right? So it's going to be fun to watch. I think
cut that one out.
We'll see what we can do.
I totally agree. I think she's like somebody who, when we're watching Sky games, I like get excited when the ball gets in her hands. Yeah. Right.
I was thinking about the KP trade earlier and whatever the draft picks were, and it's like sometimes you kind of throw around draft picks because it's like whatever, right? But I think some of the people coming up are going to be very interesting to watch. And,
Hannah Hidalgo, Juju Watkins, like there's plenty coming into the league. Let's see, my momentum is, it's so hard for me to not just pick the Lynx. They're just always, I'm sorry, I'm a shameless Minnesota Lynx fan. I think I'm gonna go back to WAFCON. I think it's Malawi.
Yeah,
they're 2-0.
I'm cheering for them.
They're 2-0, the debutantes. I just could see them make a run. They very well might knock out the defending champions, Nigeria, if Zambia would have to beat Malawi, I think, in order for that to happen.
We'll see.
So we'll see. But that's fun to know that is happening despite that coverage. I also was gonna say, like, keeping it to basketball, but just my goodness, Kelsey Mitchell is a cheat code.
Yeah.
She's
wild.
She was wild in that game. She barely misses.
Yeah.
For one, or it seems like she barely misses. Olivia Miles is too. Like, it's so cool to see her thrive in those big stage moments. But yeah, Kelsey Mitchell, I think she's got to be on, it feels like game number 17, scoring like 20 or more. She's had more 30-point games, I feel like, than anybody else in the league so far this year. So cool to see. Great game. Definitely will be tuning in for the rematch.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
all right. Instagram, Threads, and YouTube, RTG_pod, rtgpod.com, Substack, Raising the Game Podcast, and email is raisingthegamepod@gmail.com.
That's all for this week?
That's it for this week.
All right. Keep in mind, next week we will be doing a pre-record, so we will not be doing our usual like update from the week. We'll record that, put it out at our usual time, but it'll be a little delayed. We're going to focus on women's professional baseball, WPBL, and then we'll do a little roundup of kind of playoff path, I think, for both WNBA and NWSL. And call it good for the week. So we'll see you back, regularly scheduled program in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. But we'll have that for you.
Yes, 2 weeks. Yeah, sorry.
Yep, we'll have that for you. So thank you for being here.
Bye.
Bye.